What's up, everyone? It's your man, Larry, aka the American Brazilian. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you all are staying dry or warm, or dry and warm, depending on where you are in the world, in the country. I'm in Florida and it is raining here. It's so ironic that this is the sunshine state, and we have been getting seemingly all four seasons all week. I mean, Saturday and Sunday it felt like 90 degrees. Now it's like in the 50s, and the temperature is steadily dropping, and it's raining. But of course, I'm not going to complain being in Florida and not in Texas and other places where the inclement weather is like extremely severe. In any event, I just want to jump on real quick. I know I hadn't spoke to you guys since that interview that I had with my brother. I'm going to definitely put another interview up at some point. It's a couple of guys who I definitely want to hear their stories. I want to share their stories because I think it's something that'll be really good, and I think it's something that you guys will enjoy. But today, I just kind of wanted to jump on to ask you guys a question. Okay, so we know what's been going on in America. We know that it seems like this country is imploding from within. I guess imploding is, yeah. Anyway. If you had to leave this country, where would you go? That's one question. Number two, and more importantly, do you have a passport? Number three, do you have any resources to where if you had to get out of here, you could get out of here? If you answered no to any of those questions, then that probably speaks of your network. That probably speaks of the interdependence, or the communication, or the connection rather. So I would probably suggest to you guys, man, just make some connections with people elsewhere. I mean, I love this country, as I'm sure many of you do too. But if something happened, you know, having a plan is not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you plan for the worst but hope for the best. So, you know, I mean, we live, I don't know, maybe it's this way in the world period, but I was just thinking, man, we live in one of these societies, man, where last year was just kind of like, I don't think it was so much a shock to people of color, but it's definitely been an eye-opener to a lot of people. And man, we live in this society to where you're just not certain as to what's going to happen. Not that you ever knew, but there was a lot more security, I guess, mental security, emotional stability, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to where it is now. I mean, it's like anything can happen at any given time. I mean, we always knew that, but now it's kind of like anything can happen really at any given time, so you better be prepared. But this society, it's like it's even difficult to help people. I mean, you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine. This is off topic, but I was talking to a buddy of mine. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan's wise young dude. And we were talking about how it is that sometimes perception gets the person in trouble who means well. I was telling him about how the type of business that I'm in, you typically, it's not uncommon to see people twice a week in you know, doing the type of business that I'm doing. And when you see people, in your mind, you develop these relationships with people. And in some cases, in many cases, those relationships are sound. But sometimes you think the relationship is somewhere where it's not. And I'll give you a good example. There have been times where if I have been seeing somebody consistently and for whatever reason, they just kind of fall off the earth or whatever, I have called them just to make sure that they were okay. But it's like, without fail, without hesitation, they would be like, hey, I know I hadn't seen you in a while, but, and I'm like, and so about the fourth time that happened, I realized, you know what? Stop calling people. Because sometimes if like I thought the relationship was cool. You call me, hey man, I'm good. I'm just, I moved or whatever. All right, cool, no problem. And you don't owe me an example, but I mean, you owe me an explanation or whatever. But I'm just trying to give you guys an example of kind of how what this society has come to. And so anyway, I called this one guy against my better judgment. I called him. I had seen him like a month or two or whatever, and I mean, we talked religiously, and he just kind of fell off the face of the earth. And so I said, well, I'm gonna call and make sure you're okay. And I was like, yo, man, you good, everything? Oh, man, I know I hadn't seen this. Like, oh my goodness, here we go again. So against my better judgment, I got the same reaction. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's neither here or there, because again, sometimes we think we are with people where we know that they are with us, and that's just not the case. But what it does is, a lot of times, it creates this mentality. I'm gonna see if I can remember the phrase that me and my buddy was talking about: leave well enough alone mentality. Well, sometimes you just kind of want to leave well enough alone, and you want to focus in on yourself. The problem with that is it creates this sense of selfishness and paranoia. So you have to take a risk. You have to take some chances, because we're living in a world where it's made up of a host of societies. And whether you know it or not, you're in a society. So you want to be a part of kind of what's going on, or people within your society. I mean, because that's your people, right? So when you were shown that where you thought that you were in their hearts as they are in your hearts, that you weren't, it kind of creates this apprehension. Like, I'm gonna be apprehensive when it comes to dealing with something. And I just need to be prepared that sometimes things aren't the way that I thought they were. And I've come to a conclusion, and my conclusion is this: I am responsible for how I treat other people. I'm responsible for how I perceive other people, but they're not, like, I can't make them see me as I see them. I can't do that. So I'm not going to set myself up for failure. So I'm going to prepare myself to have it in kind of a one-sided way, because to look at it that, now if you my brother or my cousin, or like if you're a solid, like, bona fide solid relationship, cool, no problem. I'll eat that. I'll take a chance on that. But you can't do that with everybody. You have to be prepared to be disappointed in some cases. And I don't know, in a roundabout, crazy kind of way that's probably non-connected, it kind of reminds me of something that I said starting out with this video, and that's just, man, you have to be prepared. Because, again, we were in a world that, although it had its issues and still had its issues, it was controlled. We kind of knew what to expect. Now we don't. So I guess when it comes to being here or leaving, or creating relationships or not, I guess you just kind of have to be prepared. Take care of what you can take care of, and let everything else do what it's going to do. Because I realize now, man, you can't be responsible for the other side of it. You can only be responsible for yours. I'm talking out the side of my neck. Anyway, it's just something that I wanted to share. And then I missed posting, just kind of want that video to kind of spin out and do what it's gonna do. And hopefully we will be with you guys again real soon with another video. Hopefully it'll be an interview, because I think interviews are cool. In any event, I'll talk to you guys later. Stay warm, stay dry. And if you're in a tropical paradise, aka Brazil, Colombia, or Dominican Republic, I kind of envy you secretly, but in a good way. This is Larry, the American Brazilian, signing off, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Até a breve. É verdade.